Okay, so I wanted to do a quick video. I'll try to keep this 5 minutes or so. Basically about a post I made a few days ago, the unpopular opinion about Hayden being a more likable character than Zach in season 7. Not to retract from my original statement, but to maybe word it a bit differently. One could say that Hayden is a better written character so far in season 7. There's only been 4 episodes, but still. Or another way of putting it is that, Hayden has been an easier character to tolerate than Zach this season. But regardless, personally speaking, I've been liking Hayden as a character more than Zach in this season of Sisters, because in season 6 we were seeing a bit of growth, especially at the beginning of the season, because I mentioned this a number of times. Zach and Fatima were more like background players in season 6, which I had no problem with because it allowed the other girls to kind of have their own their own storylines with more focus on them, because I was content with having Zach and Fatima have maybe, I don't know, 5 minutes or less together in an episode, and it was good, development, good conversation, seeing these two bonding, because most of the Zatima storyline, most of the Zatima related stuff in season 7 of Sisters, or excuse me, season 6 of Sisters, was pertaining to Zach getting custody of Michael. I was fine with that because it was better than what we were getting in, like, let's say season 5, where we would have these long drawn out Zach and Fatima scenes where it was just nothing but unnecessary drama between the two. Fatima, you know what's funny, because I talk about how um, Zach is regressing this season, and Fatima was doing the same thing in season 5, where she didn't really communicate. She wasn't the easiest person to talk to. She completely disregarded Zach's feelings. It was all about what she felt about something. She had to process things, and if Zach, if she wanted to talk to Zach about something, he would have to drop everything, and go over it in that moment. She never believed him. She would always, side with another person who was irrelevant to the issue going on between them. So it feels like Zach is kind of in a similar category, where he's just truly regressed into a worse version of himself from earlier in the series. Now with Hayden, he's a character I said, like, he and Gary, well, I don't know about Gary this season, because dang, they really going wild with his character. They became like Saturday morning cartoon villains, where these two were dumber and dumber, or dumb and dumber, when it came to their schemes and whatnot. But it looks like Gary is in a more serious tone this season. Hayden, they did kind of flip flop his character, where, remember we saw the promo for season 2 when he and Andy were just having a seemingly casual conversation in the coffee room, and it was like, wait a minute, when did these two become semi buddy buddy? Because the way Hayden was being portrayed in episode 2, that felt like the Hayden from when he was first introduced in season 2, where he and Andy had a healthy, semi friendly, professional co-worker dynamic with each other. It wasn't until his possessive side towards Fatima came out, that, where he didn't want any man talking or engaging with Fatima, that led to the friction between him and Andy. But the main thing about Hayden that's been confusing was, I really want to know what happened between season 6 and 7, where his vendetta against Zach, Andy, Fatima, basically anyone he felt had something to do with the Tamara, scheme, he was going to bring him down. But then that kind of just randomly disappeared. But yet in this recent episode, he was scared to death when Fatima brought up her family busting his kneecaps and whatnot if he tried to sabotage Andy. And it just makes you wonder that during the time skip, did Hayden try to get his revenge, but, Madam and her people put him in his place, because Tamara works for Madam. So I don't know if something like that might have happened, but I mean, if it did, it wouldn't make much sense for Hayden to willingly accept Tamara coming back into his life. So I don't know. But when it comes to Hayden, he's been semi-consistent in his character, with little glimpses of his earlier persona. But with Zach, it's just like, okay, this is just hard to sit through because the growth he has gone through, it just seems to be completely gone now. You know, the Zach of season 6, the therapy from Zatima season 2, it's just like he's doing stupid stuff from like season 4, like when he beat up Hayden and got arrested. I mean, he hasn't gotten into a fight yet. Hopefully he doesn't get into a brawl with Trey at the salon, but it just seems to me that Zach, his insensitive behavior, you could argue, because personally I feel like some of his behavior towards Karen early in the season, like, you know, the Zach Jr., the trust fund, that was kind of him, I don't know, missing Michael so much that he projected his emotions to this baby, even though he doesn't even know if it is his. And I mean, for him to not even want a DNA test is just weird to me, because he seemed pretty okay with doing it earlier on, but now all of a sudden it's just like, man, I don't need no DNA test. So then you have the boneheaded, reckless Zach, you know, going to the salon with roses, and then after being told to go, and Fatima's like, look, the timing is wrong. Danny gasses him up, and all of a sudden he wants to go back again. It's just frustrating to me because, look, I don't hate Zach. I do not like how he has been written thus far in season 7. And somebody pointed out, and this is true, but different writers work on different episodes, but something tells me that they do communicate with each other in terms of the script itself. I don't think it's just a matter of, hey, well, this person wrote episode 7, so Zach is going to be different from, you know, the writer who wrote episode 12. I don't know if that's the case. I feel like they all had brainstorming sessions and whatnot, but I don't know. That does happen sometimes, like you know, like in the Marvel shows or some of these other network shows, where sometimes a different person will write a show and it's complete. It's like, wait a minute, it's almost like this person didn't communicate with that person, because like I know Dragon Ball Super, that was a thing where it's like, wait a minute, but Goku was out of energy in this episode last week, so how come this week he's all fine? And it's like, wait, he didn't, what? It's kind of one of those things. But I feel like Hayden, for me, has been a more enjoyable character. I've been able to tolerate him a bit more than Zach so far this season. Maybe things will turn around, but even if things do turn around for the better for Zach from like episode 5 onward, I'll still look at the beginning of season 7 like, what were they doing with his character? But that's just me. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.